In this video, I want to go over VPNs briefly. We went over them a little bit in a couple videos before, but in this video, I want to specifically detail what a VPN is and what it's not. And I think this is a good video to make because VPNs right now on the internet, you've seen ads for them all over the place. They're being sold as kind of like the magic tonic or magic beans of security, like everything will be better with a VPN. This is to try and help set the record straight a bit about what VPNs actually are. To start with, I think it's a good idea to explain exactly what a VPN is. A VPN is a networking mechanism to create logical connections between either a user device, like a phone or a laptop, and another network, or a way of bridging a network to another network. So I'll try and give you a visual example of what this means. So if I go to this diagram here, we can say that, for example, this is your computer or your phone or a tablet, whichever end device you want to use. That device is connected through Wi-Fi, usually. It could also be connected through a cell tower if you're using data over the cellular network. But in this case, let's just consider that we're using our home network. So we have our home Wi-Fi router and our end device, whatever that happens to be. So normally when you're using your computer to browse the internet, what you're going to be doing is your computer is going to, for example, you want to access this website over here. So your computer is going to send a request to access this server through the internet. So your traffic is going to go through the router to the internet, where it's going to take whatever, it's going to bounce around, it takes whatever path it needs to get to this router over here, which then sends it to the server. So the traffic that you see in here for the internet block, each one of these points, which are usually referred to as hops, are the different routers that are passing your network traffic between one router to another, getting closer to its end destination being this website. So the claims made by VPN servers is that the activity that happens in here for the internet is relatively insecure, that there's potential that hackers could get your data, that your traffic might be intercepted. And this is where the marketing terms for VPNs starts really detaching from the reality of what VPNs are. So let's take a look at this same example, but this time we're going to be using a VPN server. Okay, same exact example, but this time we're going to be using a VPN server. So what does a VPN actually do? The VPN's job is to logically connect your computer to the network where the VPN server is. That's the goal of the VPN. So what we can say is that when you connect to a VPN, what you're actually doing is you're taking your computer and connecting it logically to the network of that VPN server. And normally with VPN providers, this is done in an encrypted way. I mean, there are ways you can do unencrypted VPNs. There's nothing preventing you from doing a unencrypted VPN. It's one of the options available for creating a VPN, but most of them will be encrypted. So back to the same example, we want our computer to access the website, except this time we're connected to a VPN. So what's going to happen this time? Our network traffic is going to originate from the computer, but before it even leaves the computer, what it's going to do is it's going to encrypt the network data. And I'll make the encrypted data, say, let's go with blue. So blue will be our encrypted network data. So it's going to encrypt it, and then that encrypted data is going to be sent through the router into the internet. Same deal, it's going to go bouncing around however it needs to go. But this time, instead of going to the website, it's going to stop at this router, and it's going to be sent down to the VPN server. In that case, what it's going to do is the server is going to receive the data and then decrypt it, and that decrypted data is going to be relayed by the server. So something to notice right now is that the blue traffic is encrypted, and it's encrypted with a very strong encryption algorithm, which is, for all intents and purposes, unbreakable. But you can notice that the red traffic here is our unencrypted traffic. The unencrypted traffic exists on our computer and on the server. So logically speaking, even though the physical path of the traffic is going through the internet like this, encrypted, the logical path is that the network traffic is actually going directly. So even though physically the packets have not done this, they've gone through the internet, we can say that logically the computer is talking directly to the VPN server, because in effect the VPN server is the only one who can decrypt this traffic going through the internet. But we have not actually finished our goal. Our goal was to get our network traffic to the website through the VPN. So the VPN still needs to send our traffic to the website. And this is where the claims start breaking down by the VPN providers. So when we say we want to access the website through the VPN, what we've done is we've taken our network traffic, encrypted it, sent it over the internet down to the VPN server, which has then unencrypted it. But that traffic still needs to get to the website. And there is no VPN link between the VPN server and the website. So what's going to happen is the server is now going to take our unencrypted data that it just decrypted and send it back onto the internet. It's going to bounce around however it needs to go into the router for the website and then access the website. So this right here is the pop quiz question. Where exactly does the VPN provide security? And the answer for that is it only provides security within the VPN link. So between the computer and this blue traffic here to the server, that's where the protection is. But once it leaves the VPN server, it is exactly the same traffic that our laptop sent before it went through the VPN. There's no difference. But it's taking that traffic, sending it back onto the internet without the VPN protection that then goes to the website. So if you're looking for absolute privacy between your laptop and the website, you can see from this graph that's not happening. What's happening is your data is being effectively shifted from coming from your laptop to the server. So the website here sees the traffic originating from the VPN server and not from your laptop. But that traffic that's being sent to the website is not going to be protected by the VPN. So the claim made that a VPN somehow increases privacy doesn't really hold any water. As you can see, while it does provide protection while it's getting to the VPN server, eventually that traffic is going to end up back on the internet anyway, and it's not going to be protected by the VPN at that point. So it also cuts into the claim that using a VPN somehow protects you from hackers, whatever that means. In reality, it's really not going to happen that way unless there is a malicious actor in between any of the blue traffic, any of the VPN encrypted traffic. That's the only place that it would protect you. But again, once it gets to the VPN server, it's going to go right back onto the internet, and it's not going to be protected by a VPN. The idea that the VPN also provides a enhanced level of privacy, even creating a private internet, is also debunked by this, because the internet service provider, your internet service provider, is going to exist somewhere in here. So your network traffic, by default, would be reliant on the internet service provider to provide that privacy, at least to some degree. So if an internet service provider got a subpoena, for example, there's a risk that the ISP could relay to law enforcement of your browsing activity and your network activity. With a VPN, the ISP can no longer do that. All they can see is that you are connecting through a VPN, but they can't see what the traffic inside the VPN is. But what could happen is that the law enforcement may see that you're just using a VPN, they see what VPN you're using, and they get a subpoena for that VPN service. Because remember, the VPN server is the other end of this tunnel. So once it leaves the VPN server is going to have your data not protected by the VPN. So this is where the terminology for no log VPNs comes into play. Because if a VPN service gets hacked or they get a subpoena, they could potentially have your data and your network activity available. So what they'll try and do is they'll claim that they don't store any logs of user data. So if they did get a request from either law enforcement or if they got hacked, they wouldn't have anything to actually give them because there's no record of your activity on that server. The benefits you get from a VPN in terms of its privacy and security when browsing the internet is very, very limited in scope, way more limited than they are trying to advertise it as, and it's very situational, and overall relies entirely on how much you trust this VPN service to actually keep their word, and keep their word that they're not taking logs, and that there's not some kind of weasel out for them for taking logs or doing something else with the traffic. So I think I'll close this video out. I talked a lot about what VPNs can't do and what they're being misrepresented as. In the next video, I'll focus more on the advantages of a VPN and what they're intended to do, rather than the marketing gimmicks that they try and push from the VPN service providers.